Hello there, I'm James O'Brien, physical therapist. In this video, I'm going to teach you the safe way to deadlift. So deadlifting is awesome because not only does it work like an insane number of muscle groups, it's like real life strength. Say you want to pick something heavy up off the floor, if you know how to deadlift and you practice the deadlift, there's a better chance that you're not going to get hurt. It works your hamstrings, your glutes, your quadriceps, your back muscles, just hits a ton of muscle groups. So big bang for the buck doing the deadlift. So in this video, I'm going to teach you the safe way to deadlift. I'm going to be going over how to use a straight bar as well as a hex bar, both straight-legged deadlift as well as a traditional style deadlift. All right, so stick around to learn more. So to begin, I want to go over some of the common pitfalls or errors that I see with the deadlift. All right, so I'm going to use this little tool here. This is a bow staff I acquired in the sewers of New York City after I punched a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle by the name of Donatello in the face and took his bow staff. He challenged my honor. I told him I was Army strong, and needless to say, I got his bow staff. So this is a great tool to learn how to deadlift. So let's go over some of the important things to know about. All right, so biggest rule of a deadlift, whether we're doing a straight-legged deadlift or a traditional style deadlift, is we don't want to round the back, okay? We don't want to really move the spine, period. All the motion should be generated from your hips, your knees, and somewhat in your ankles, all right? So a great drill is the bow staff on the back drill, or I call this also the dowel on the back drill, where I bend forward and I keep the bar or the staff on me, all right? If I did this, I failed. Okay, so I'm creating two contact points here, just at my pant line and somewhere up here in my mid back. As I bend forward and it stays on my back, I'm doing a great job. Again, if I bend forward and it comes off, I failed. So to have a good deadlift, I need to be able to keep these 2 points of contact. If you have enough flexibility in your upper back and neck, you can also keep your head, like I'm doing here on the bow staff. Bam. All right, so let's go over the differences between a straight-legged deadlift and a traditional style deadlift. So with a straight-legged deadlift, it really should be called a semi-straight-legged deadlift, all right, because you are still bending your knees. And it is, yes, very important that you bend your knees. So here is a straight-legged deadlift, where my knees are slightly bent and my butt is way back, just like so. My butt goes way up high. Notice the bow staff stays on my back. If I were to do this, I failed. There I didn't bend my knees enough, and the bow staff came off the back, so no good. So here is the straight-legged deadlift, and that's fine and safe to do for your body. That is more specific to developing your hamstrings, these muscles right here, which are not only great for running and bending your knee like this, they're also designed to extend your hip. All right, so now we're going to do the traditional style deadlift, which is basically the same thing, but with more of a knee bend, okay? Like so, all right? Or you could have something, somewhere in between, all right? So, great tool, all right? Before you grab a heavy weight, okay, this is 135 pounds. I know for a lot of you that's not really heavy, but it's a little heavy for me. So, I don't want to show you how to not do it with this heavy weight because I could have hurt my back. You can practice with a light bar or a bow staff like this. If I'm doing a deadlift and the bar starts to move forward, okay, here's my center of mass. If this bar moves forward away from my center of mass, it's creating torque on my back, and I failed, all right? So I see a lot of people try and deadlift, and they hyperextend their back, they shoot their knees forward, this comes away from them, and then it comes back right here. No good. That's how you're going to hurt your back deadlifting. The bar path should always go straight up and down, all right? So this is a good deadlift. Now, the way I get my knees out of the way is I put my butt back. As I drive my butt backwards and I flex my knees, the bar can go straight down. If I don't put my butt back far enough, the bar goes forward, no good, all right? So my favorite cue to get people to deadlift correctly is I say start by butt back. The second you drop your butt back, you flex your knees, all right? I would never want to see this, because again, then you can see my center, the bar here, my center of mass isn't over it. That's creating torque. If I flex my knees correctly, now my center of mass is right over this. That's reducing torque of my spine. So here's a good deadlift. Here's my straight-legged deadlift. Less knee bend, butt back. Again, notice I still bent my knees. Straight-legged deadlift, we'll go to traditional deadlift. Traditional deadlift. All right? So now let's actually show you with a weight. All right? Here is a traditional deadlift. My knees are as far forward as they can go. All right? If I'm here, the bar, my center of mass isn't over the bar. Right here, I'm okay. Up I go. And down. Now we're going to do the straight-legged deadlift. Butt goes way back. You notice my butt's up nice and high. And up. All right? People are typically a little bit stronger with the traditional style deadlift. All right. One other common error I see, all right, is people might do everything correctly. They go down just fine, like so. Everything's good. Then when they go to stand up, what they do is they hyperextend their back first and then stand up. No good. If you move your back, there's a good chance you're going to hurt your back. All right? It's all in the hips and knees, like I'm doing right here. All right? I don't want to see people initiate the movement by extending their back and then extending their hips forward. That's a great way to hurt your back. All right? One other common error is I see people lose what I call the active shoulder position. All right? And I may have lost it there when I was demonstrating. All right? So this is me losing the active shoulder position. If I were to come down and allow myself to get a little saggy in my shoulders, instead I want to pull my shoulder blades back, all right? And I can even pretend I'm snapping the bar. As I snap or bend the bar, you can see how my shoulder blades come into place. So basically, I'm trying to do this with the bar. Come down. So I keep those active shoulders, all right? I imagine I have a ponytail, and I'm pulling up on my ponytail. Now my neck is in good alignment. As I pull my ponytail that way, and I push my tailbone that way, now I have a nice, long, straight spine, ready to deadlift. Okay? A few more times with the bar here. Okay, here we go. So I'm bending the bar, pulling up on my ponytail. I've got my nice active shoulders, ready to rock. Up I go, down. Traditional style deadlift, all right, right about here. All right, straight-legged deadlift, butts up just a little bit higher. All the other rules remain the same. One other tip with the deadlift is often I see people try and finish like this, all right, where they're actually arching their lower back, throwing their hips forward. Totally unnecessary. Remember, the rule is if you don't want to hurt your back, don't move your back. As you do have a heavy weight in front of you with the straight bar, you will actually push your hips slightly into the bar. So if you get a slight lean back, that's okay, but don't make it excessive. Here I'm overextending my back, all right? Never a good thing. So now we'll be going over the Hex Bar Deadlift. So the Hex Bar is a pretty cool tool, and it makes things a whole lot safer for deadlifting. So if you're nervous about doing the straight bar deadlift, I would just say go with the Hex Bar Deadlift. It's a whole lot safer. So apparently, I guess, I'll tell you a little background about the Hex Bar, which I thought was really interesting. All right, so one day the straight bar was walking through the woods and accosted an evil witch who threw a hex on the bar itself and created the Hex Bar. Hashtag dad joke, always funny. Dad jokes are always funny. All right, so here's the Hex Bar. So for this Hex Bar, it actually has these little extra handlebars here. I'm not sure if you can see that. So it's up a little bit higher than some other Hex Bars, but really all the rules are the same. All right, so with the Hex Bar, obviously you just step in, all right? And all the rules are the same. You know, pull up on your imaginary ponytail, boom. All right, stick your butt back, okay? Away from the ponytail to lengthen the spine, all right? With the Hex Bar, however, because you don't have to worry about clearing the knees, you can actually do more of like a squat-like motion, all right? So I can safely Hex Bar deadlift here, just like so, okay? And it's more like a squat. I could never do that with a straight bar because it would hit my knees, all right? So I can do the Hex Bar Deadlift with minimal forward bend, just like so. I can also do it in a straight-legged deadlift, like I was doing before, like this, which is more of a hip hinge motion, or somewhere in between, all right? The rules are the same. Keep a straight back. Number one, I wouldn't want you to be here to be rounded. No good. I also wouldn't want you to get here and then hyperextend your back, all right? Like I said before, all right? We want to have most of the motion happen at our knees and our hips, all right? I'll go over just a few other small pointers here with the Hex Bar, though. Spin it around, okay? So let's talk about knee alignment, okay? So I want to make sure that my knees and my toes are pointed in the same direction. You want to be about hip width apart, maybe slightly wider, but I wouldn't say any less. I prefer to go just slightly wider than hip width apart. When I do the exercise, I want to ensure that my knee does not collapse inward, like so, all right? So a great way to avoid that from happening is I can think about screwing into the floor. So my feet stay still, but as I screw in, I'm basically doing this motion, all right? That will pull my knees out. I'm not a huge fan of going out super wide, all right? I like to have my knees just about over my toes, maybe slightly wider apart. Here we go. So I'll do the squat, and then I'll do the hip hinge, or more traditional deadlift, all right? Bam. So notice that these are in line. It helps if you say things like bam. So we're gonna say bam. Gets me motivated. All right, like so, up. Here I'm doing more of a hip hinge. All right, guys, that's how to deadlift. All right, deadlifting is a great exercise. If you're nervous about using the straight bar, if you have super tight hamstrings, you might be better off with the Hex Bar, all right? I say tight hamstrings here if you know you have really tight hamstrings and you can't hip hinge down without rounding your back, go with the Hex Bar. And this is, if you happen to be in the Army, the new ACFT, this is what we're using. So you might want to just train like you fight on the ACFT, all right? All right, hope you guys find that helpful, and stay tuned for next time.